All right, so this has been circulating around right-wing and social media, those who are extremely pro-Israel, saying UN halves its estimate of women and children killed in Gaza. This is the tweet by the apostate prophet. He says, for months, we were given insane numbers. We were told to trust Hamas terrorists. When we doubted them, we were accused of supporting genocide. Now the UN quietly halved the percentage of dead women and children while keeping the total death toll the same. And they cited this article. We're also seeing this with Fox News, same sort of thing. UN revises Gaza death toll, almost 50% less women and children killed than previously reported. Okay, what happened? Let's go ahead and hear from the UN themselves, shall we?
Thanks, Farhan. There's some reporting that's come out that says, quote, the UN has halved the number of casualties.
Halved, yes. It's a hard word to say.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, though,
yes,
right?
I do know. Cut in half.
Cut in half, thank you. The casualties from Gaza, is that true?
It's not quite the case, no. What I can tell you is this. The overall number of fatalities that's been tallied by the Ministry of Health in Gaza, which is our counterpart on dealing with the death tolls, that number remains unchanged, and it's at more than 35,000 people since October 7th. What's changed is the Ministry of Health in Gaza has updated the breakdown of fatalities for whom full details have been documented. So what they recently published was that they gave figures for 24,686 out of 34,622 overall fatalities recorded in Gaza. And those 24,686 people are the ones for whom full details have been documented. In other words, people who have been fully identified. Out of that smaller number, that subset of identified bodies, you have 7,797 children, 4,959 women, 1,924 elderly, and 10,006 men. And the Ministry of Health says that the documentation process of fully identifying details of the casualties is ongoing. Meanwhile, as you can see if you do the math, that there's about another 10,000 plus bodies who still have to be fully identified. And so then the details of those, which of those are children, which of those are women, that will be reestablished once the full identification process is complete. Our teams in Gaza are unable to independently verify these figures given the situation on the ground and the continuing combat and the sheer number of fatalities. And so we cite the Ministry of Health as the source for our figures.
And do you have any reason to believe that the Ministry of Health numbers are incorrect based on the years that the UN has worked with the Ministry of Health of Gaza?
Unfortunately, we have the sad experience of coordinating with the Ministry of Health on casualty figures every few years for large mass casualty incidents in Gaza. And in past times, their figures have proven to be generally accurate. Yes, Deshi.
Yeah. There you go. So the numbers are accurate. The Ministry of Health, yes, it is Hamas. I suppose it's their government. And so, we don't say that here in the United States. We don't. Well, I guess actually when you're watching the news, they do kind of say, well, the Trump run or the Biden run, we do kind of hear that too. So I suppose everybody does that. But they're saying that the numbers are accurate. But you hear what the explanation is that there are some identified bodies, and then there are other bodies they have not been able to identify because of the situation on the ground. It's not easy to try to identify bodies that you have to dig up out of the rubble. You would have to risk your life. I mean, UN people are being killed all the time. So you'd have to risk your life to try to get the body in order to identify the body. You've got entire families wiped out or entire groups of families wiped out. So others buried them without knowing really who they were. They just said, we had a child die, another child die, a woman was killed, and a father was killed. They then report that. Those people that were buried and nobody knew who they were, they buried them because nobody was around to identify them, and there wasn't the forensic to identify them. They went unidentified. They're still reported deaths. They are still the deaths. They're just not forensically identified yet for whatever reason, whether they can't get to the body or they don't have the tools. They don't even have the tools to save living people right now, let alone identify dead people. So that's the situation. So let's, debunk this, lay it to rest. No, they did not half the numbers. No, that is not what happened. The number of fatalities is still at about 35,000 people. There are still, according to the identified numbers, 32% of those killed have been children. Children are being killed, and then another 20% are women. That is still half of the fatalities. Over half the fatalities that are identified at this point are women and children. And that is not including the 10,000 they have not been able to get to, or largely probably women and children, very difficult to identify. That is the truth of what's gone on there. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Hey guys, thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you could catch just by heading to that link down below, KimIversonShow.com. You can watch the full show from what you just watched, or you could catch the full show live Monday through Friday, live streams, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. See you then. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Never miss an episode. Never miss a clip. Never miss a segment. Thanks, guys.